Today we have the 2023 Volkswagen ID.4 pure electric vehicle, and it actually has a few updates for 2023. And as far as electric vehicles go, this one might be intriguing for you, so you're going to want to check it out. Let's take a look at the exterior, the interior, and get it out on the road for a test drive, and we'll talk about the battery and the range and all that good stuff. Let's get started. All right, y'all, let's take a look at all the exterior details of this ID.4. So this particular trim that we have is the all-wheel drive Pro S, so towards the top tier of the ID.4 models. Starting out right up front, this has a very distinct front end. I'd love to know what you think. The grille down at the bottom, or the partial grille down there, is actually new, that gloss black. Otherwise, you don't need a grille up here because it is full EV. You have an illuminated Volkswagen emblem, an LED light bar running across right there. All LED headlights, including this turn signal, LED daytime running light, and the upper trims are even going to give you premium LED adaptive front lights with cornering lights. So what that means is you can see this little inside corner right there that illuminates for your all-weather lights like fog lights, or for when you turn, you're going to have illumination next to you. And I have a night video showing these off if you want to check that out in the description below. Now, as far as design, what do you think of the ID.4? Right away, I didn't really care for it so much. It's got that electric car look where it's just kind of round and bulbous, meant for aerodynamics and efficiency, but let me know what you think. You're gonna get turn signals in the mirror. You've got 19 or 20-inch wheels, like the 20-inch wheels that we have standard on this model. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is the body cladding at the lower part of the vehicle. You can't tell so much with the gray paint, but once we get to the back, you'll really see it. And dimensionally, this is 180.5 inches long, so it's a decent amount shorter than the Tiguan, but it still has a ton of interior cargo space and passenger space considering its size. You're gonna get LED taillights, including an LED light bar that runs across, and a red illuminated Volkswagen emblem, ID.4 badging right here as well. Let me know what you think. Now, when you get to the cargo area, you see the lights flash. You can have it programmed to automatically unlock when you approach the vehicle. You can do that on the inside, so when you walk up to the door it will unlock, or the cargo area will unlock. You can have that if you want, but the upper trims are going to give you a hands-free lift like this. So you've got this available on those upper trims, and let's check out the cargo space. Now, there's a couple cool things about this cargo area. So first of all, this is a decent sized space. As you can see, I've got a pretty large backpack right there. You've got some storage on the sides. You've also got some tie downs in here as well. And you've got some fixed hooks, which work good for slinging a bag so it doesn't slide around, or grocery bags. You've got one on each side, and you even have lights back here and a center pass through, but there's more. We've seen this in other vehicles, but this is a two-stage cargo floor, and I believe this is just on the upper trims. Pull it out, get it situated. It's easier with two hands, but then you got that. You've got a double level floor, so it's higher like that, and you can still lift it up and have space underneath to store stuff. And there's even room under here for your charging bag or your tire inflator kit, because this does not come with a spare tire, just a tire fix-it kit. You also get this cargo cover, but to fold the second row down, you will have to go up there. There's no release tabs back here. But if you have this cargo floor in the upper level, it makes for a fairly smooth surface, but that second row is somewhat elevated. But you still get about 64 cubic feet with the seats down. Not bad for a vehicle this size. Now, here's Volkswagen's key fob. It looks nice. It's kind of the same touch sensitive type of thing. It does have buttons, but it's similar to the steering wheel controls, which I'll tell you why I don't like. And I can just imagine this getting scratched up like crazy with this shiny black, but it feels nice at the very least. And as you saw with the cargo space, as you approach, you can make the vehicle unlock. You can push that little dimple to lock it. You'll have power folding mirrors on the upper trims, or the top trim, and then there's not an actual movable handle here. It is just a little touchpad in there. You squeeze that, and then you get access into the vehicle. Even at this price point in the 50,000s, you don't have smart access to the second doors. Now, climbing into the front seat right here, the lower trims are going to give you cloth with a synthetic bolster, 6-way manual adjustment, no lumbar, but these are the upper trim level seats. This is not real leather. This is actually synthetic leather. It is perforated. You have some mild bolstering, kind of on the small side for the side body and the bottom, but these are really squishy and soft. I mean, these seats are really soft. So if you need something really supportive, maybe this isn't good, but I've been comfortable in here, even on extended trips. You've got 4-way lumbar support and your regular height and tilt, so 12-way adjustment here. Plus, we've got memory settings. If you've got these upper trims, you get memory settings right here as well. steering wheel is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and it's got a pretty good range. Plus, that display moves with the steering wheel. One more thing, these seats are heated standard, but there is no ventilation available. Now, one other bonus is that even though you don't have ventilation, you actually have a lumbar massage. It's a little button right next to your memory settings. It stays on for a little bit for you and the passenger, but it's still a nice feature. And overall, like I said, I've spent a decent amount of time in these seats and I've been comfortable the whole time. Now, climbing into the back seat here, you're going to get the same nice looking two-tone material here and perforated seats as well. And knee space and leg space is good. It's certainly not great, but for this size of a vehicle, I won't complain. This is where I like to sit at 5'9", so keep that in mind. I've got enough space for my feet, even though I have this seat pretty low. There's also no hump in the middle, so middle passengers will be more comfortable. You've got air conditioning vents standard on here, a little storage area, and we also get these two USB-C charging ports. Right in the middle, we get a folding armrest with two different size cup holders. This one's pretty tiny, and a padded armrest. If you stick around for another minute, you'll see this giant panoramic roof for the back seat and front seat passengers. And unlike some conventional crossovers or SUVs, these seats don't scoot forward and backwards or recline, so keep that in mind. But I can sit up tall, even with a hat, and have good headroom. Now let's take a look at the interior here inside this ID.4, and you're gonna find that it is unique and kind of frustrating in a way, but also very cool. So first of all, let's go ahead and open the door. And here's the thing, sometimes, let me close this again. Pull the handle, and if you're not immediately pushing the door open, you will get locked in here. You'll have to do it again and push the door open. That's kind of frustrating. It's just one little feature, one little thing about it. But you've got nice material. It's a leatherette right here, a soft material up there, and then you've got a decent sized cubby down there as well. My big awkward bottle, something like this, doesn't fit that great, but most will. And one thing to keep in mind is you're not allowed to roll your rear windows down. Just kidding. In order to do that, these ones are for the front, and then to get the back windows down, you have to press on the rear. Sometimes it's not all that responsive, but again, it requires something that you need to pay a little more attention to than you probably should. You've got a deep fall through door handle right here, mirror controls, child safety lock is actually right there as well. And then your light controls are touch sensitive here too. Push button start is right there. Go ahead and start it up. You've got this display here. This is standard and it actually moves with the steering wheel as you saw earlier. The steering wheel can be leather wrapped on upper trim levels, and this light colored steering wheel is pretty interesting. This is actually a leatherette synthetic material. And let me complain real quick, these steering wheel controls, we've seen these in other Volkswagen models. They have a touch sensitive, they're like that you can press it a little bit and it'll give you feedback. But if you just slide your finger, then you get things to move. Sometimes it's responsive, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just flat out frustrating. And if you want to turn up the volume, you can slide, but it's not like little increments, it's kind of a big increment. You can press it, but it's pretty darn delayed as well. Just a minor complaint, some people probably really like that. I think it looks nice, but you'll have to try it for yourself. Now let's look more at this display. So even though it's a small screen, you still got a good amount of information on here. So let's go through here. You can change the view, driver assist, speedometer. You can have all three of those on there. You can focus on speed and trip computer, and then you can cycle through even your map on there. Let's go back here. Let's see. You can see my MPGs, or my miles per kilowatt hour. And if you're paying attention to that, you're probably going to use the drive. So this is your shifter. You go into drive, or B is brake, like regenerative braking mode, where it's kind of like one pedal driving in a sense, neutral, and then reverse, you pull it back towards you. So brake, pull it back. Then we've got our backup camera. You can get an overhead view camera if you want on upper trims, but this one on the S Plus trim, but this one doesn't have it. To park, you push on that, just like that. Now, in order to do a brake hold function, you know, a lot of times that button will be down here, but you have to actually dig into the settings here, which is kind of annoying to turn it off or on. Not only do you have to dig into the settings for that, you have to do that for the climate controls as well. Now, you can use these touch sliders to turn the temperature up or down, but there are no sliders to adjust the fan speed immediately. You have to touch here, and then depending on what menu you have open, if you have Smart Climate open, you have to again touch the screen again to adjust the fan speed on here. So touch sensitive controls for everything and menus. The smart climate is kind of cool for abbreviated things like this. Otherwise, you've got your classic climate where you can see things down here, and this is how you activate your heated steering as well. So again, if your smart climate is on, you want your heated steering wheel on, you got to touch the climate button. Then you got to touch classic climate, and then you got to touch the screen there for that. Just small, minor things, but I wish that there were more simple, conventional buttons available. And the other thing is, this is the volume slider for your radio, temperature sliders on both sides. Those have zero lighting or illumination to them at all at night. So it's just like flying blind trying to touch those controls. But the screen overall looks very nice. You can change the theme color on here by going to the ambient lighting section, which I can show you a little bit later, or check out my night video. In fact, if you want to see the ambient lighting, this has the enhanced ambient lighting. You can still get ambient lighting even on the base model, which is awesome, and multicolor ambient lighting at that. This also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it is wireless. It looks nice, it functions well, and you have a wireless charging bin right here. You can tuck your phone, slide it up in there, then it's out of sight, out of mind, or you have a couple of USB chargers right there. For the audio system, there's a couple different options on here as well, and I think that it sounds pretty good. You've got just your basic adjustments here for this bass sound system. It's a 7-speaker audio standard, but you can get a subwoofer on the S Plus model. Down here, we've got a little elevated center console. They call it a 2-tier thing because there is space underneath of there, but it's pretty much useless space. There's not like a tray or anything. It's just a pass-through to the other side. Cup holders right here are pretty good size. Storage area right there and your charging mat. And then we've got a large storage bin right in here. This even has a light inside of it as well. This armrest is fairly soft too, and it goes fairly far. You can't adjust it forward or up, but it is still pretty comfortable. You've got nice materials in here as well. You don't have a locking glove box, but you've got a good sized glove box right there. You're gonna get an automatic dimming rear view mirror up overhead, and then at night, these lights actually give you an illuminated ring around them so you can find them easily, and they're touch sensitive. Plus, check this out, a touch sensitive slider for this panoramic roof. This is a fixed glass roof. It does not open the glass, and it's only on the upper trim levels, but it goes way, way back there. One other unique thing is you have this thing called ID light. So there's a light bar that lights up there. You can see that. You can see more in my night video. It gives you messages, feedback, if someone's calling, if you're gonna run into somebody, different things, and you can adjust it in the settings. All right, y'all, we are now behind the wheel of this ID.4, and it's an interesting car to drive. So as far as electric cars go, this one is pretty smooth, and it's also very quiet. It's quiet compared to pretty much all the other cars that you drive. It's quiet on high-speed roads and rough textured roads as well for the most part, even though we don't have laminated glass over here. It's just a pleasant car to drive, and it's fairly comfortable. Now, unlike other purpose-built EVs, the ID.4 does not give you a trunk or a front trunk right here. You still get some hardware for your electric components, and let's talk about this powertrain. Now, new for this year, you actually get a lower, smaller battery with less range and less power, but it's also $5,000 cheaper than the other base model. Otherwise, you can get the bigger 82 kilowatt hour battery, which is going to give you up to 275 miles of range with rear-wheel drive, or 255 miles as shown here with all-wheel drive, and 295 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers aren't eye-popping by any means, but they're sufficient. This car still has good torque, and it just drives pretty darn nice. Rear-wheel drive will have 1 electric motor, all-wheel drive will have 2 electric motors. Now, as far as charging goes, the charging door is on the back passenger side, which I honestly don't like as much. I prefer one on the driver's side or up towards the front. Let me know what you think as far as that goes. But pop this door open, you've got your charger right here. Volkswagen will give you your own level 1 charger, so you can plug into a standard 3-prong outlet at home or in your garage or whatever. It's just a very, very slow charge. You can upgrade to a level 2 outlet at your house, which is a 240 volt plug and a different charger, and still be able to charge at home and fully charge anywhere from about 6 to 7 to 8 hours, depending on how fast your charger is. So you could plug in overnight, get a full battery for the next day in that much time. Or you could go to the DC fast chargers, which is level 3, and you can charge from 10 to 80% battery capacity in 30 to 36 minutes. Not as fast as some, but at least you can still get around decently. Now, quick story, I have gotten decent range with this car, but I had to make a trip across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metro, a couple different stops, come back home, and then I was able to charge for a little bit. Then I had to go again and come back. And if I had the air conditioning running, I wouldn't have made it home. It's just one thing, and there was not a fast charger on my route. I would have had to take a different route in order to get there, even in the DFW Metro. But I'm sure that chargers will pop up more and more, and most of the time, most of you will get around just fine, but some of you, keep that in mind. First impressions of this is that, you know, it's not as punchy as some vehicles that are electric cars, but it's still punchy enough. I mean, the fact that you have the instant torque, that's just partial pedal. Gets you up to speed very quickly. So don't worry that this doesn't have as much power and torque as some other EVs. It still gets you going in a hurry. It'll throw you back in your seat, and it's just very smooth and quiet in doing so. While we're sitting here, we have drive modes. You push this button right there. You've got an eco mode, a comfort mode, a sport mode, traction mode for low speeds, and then your own custom drive mode. I wish we had a button to push or something you could do that quickly instead of touchscreen, but I'm gonna put us in sport mode next. We'll keep this in drive. I'll put it in the braking mode in a second for the regenerative braking. And right now I also have the brake hold on, auto hold. You have to go into the touchscreen to turn that off or on, which is kind of annoying. So if you have it in the braking mode, it's not technically one pedal driving because you have to turn the auto hold on. But we are in sport mode now, and let it rip. There we go. And it seems like the regenerative braking is pretty intense in sport mode. Pedal down again, it still just gets you going, just boom. Now if I shift this into eco mode and comfort mode, both of those you're gonna coast a lot more. And I have noticed that just being in comfort mode, regular drive, versus the B, regenerative braking mode, which I'll do right now, I actually get better efficiency in regular drive. Just tick that forward. Regenerative braking, it's going to slow you down pretty intensely unless you push on the accelerator. So it is not full one pedal drive unless you turn on the auto hold button, and it doesn't seem to brake quite as aggressively as some, but it's still obviously going to pull you back pretty intense. There's no way to adjust it as far as I know. Some vehicles have paddle shifters where you can turn it up or turn it down, but this one it's just either on or off. So going down this hill, if I let off, it's going to slow me down quite a bit. I'm going to put us back in drive, just flick it forward. And as far as handling goes, this handles well. It's got a great turning radius too. I'll show you that right here. I'm sure the suspension components and steering components are different with this being an EV. I mean, you can turn around in such a tight spot. It is very impressive, very nimble and easy to drive around, and passing power is good, getting going from a stop is good, and the ride comfort is good too. So I mean, there's a lot that is good about this car. I wouldn't say that it's a standout in any particular thing, but it just does well in many categories. And in my week of driving, with some fun driving, with some interstate driving, some city driving, I'm getting 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. So you multiply that by the size of the battery, and that's approximately how much range you're going to get out of it. And like I mentioned earlier, this is fairly quiet, even on rougher textured roads, so keep that in mind. There is one little complaint I have about driving. It's the feeling of the brake. Now, these cars have regenerative braking in addition to regular braking, but this one actually has drum brakes in the back. I don't think that has anything to do with this, but the braking complaint that I have is as you push down on the brake, it feels kind of spongy. It's like there's not a lot of feedback, and then boom, all of a sudden you kind of get some intense braking, especially when you're coming to an actual stop. But you get used to it. It's something that stood out to me. But I hope you enjoyed this test drive. Let's go ahead and wrap things up. So to wrap things up on this Volkswagen ID.4, I like the fact that they now give us a lower starting price with a smaller battery. It's nice to have a different entry level into the segment. But This is such a unique EV. There's some really quirky things about it that some of you might love or some of you might hate, like especially those controls on the inside. But the range is decent with all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. It's not class leading, but it's certainly not the worst out of all EVs out there either. But it drives nice, it's spacious, it's not a huge vehicle, so it doesn't take up a ton of room, but it has good room inside and a nice amount of features as well. So there's really not a whole lot you can complain about it. Let me know what you think of this ID.4 down below, and if you're looking for an electric car, is this one that you would go for? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.